Good afternoon and welcome. Good to see all of y'all. We're going to go ahead and get started. Chairman Unerman may be joining us in just a little bit. Today is the legislative public hearing on block grants, and it is now hereby called to order. First, let me introduce myself. I am Katie Dempsey. I serve Rome and Floyd County with House District 13. Sitting on the podium with me is Roma Amin, representing the House Budget and Research Office, Jared Evans, representing the Senate Budget and Evaluation Office, and Representative Buddy Harden also is up here with us. R. Demetrius Taylor is the Budget Director for the Department of Human Services, and Mary Price, I believe here, is with us also, the Director of Budget and Finance for the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities. Before we get started, is there anyone who requires sign language interpreter services? If you just raise your hand. I do not see anyone, and we'll watch. If the door opens, then maybe we'll just go ahead as though someone could possibly need it. I want to thank you for attending today's block grant hearing. The purposes of the hearing is to receive public comments on the use of 5 human services block grants that Georgia receives from the federal government. The hearing also provides the members of the Georgia legislature the opportunity to listen to the views of private citizens and other interested parties on how block grant funds should be used for the state fiscal year 2017, which will begin on July 1, 2016. These block grants are Community Mental Health Block Grant, Community Services Block Grant, Low Income Home Energy Assistance Block Grant, Social Services Block Grant, Substance Abuse Prevention and Treatment Block Grant. Public input is an important aspect of the deliberative process that the Georgia legislature undertakes in making decisions about the state's budget. Thank you for taking the time and making this a priority in your day to participate in the process. At this time, R. Demetrius Taylor will provide a brief summary of the grants and explain how we will proceed. Please welcome Mr. Taylor.
Thank you, Representative Dempsey. As Representative Dempsey has told you, the Department of Human Services will receive public comments on 3 federal block grants today. By federal law, Georgia is required to hold public hearings on these grants. These 3 grants are the Community Services Block Grant, Low Income Home Energy Assistance Block Grant, and the Social Services Block Grant. At this time, I will give you a brief overview of these grants. The Community Services Block Grant provides funds for services and activities that impact the causes of poverty and to assist low-income participants. These funds are distributed through local agencies throughout the state and fund a wide range of services, including employment, education, meals and nutrition, and housing services. The Low Income Home Energy Assistance Block Grant provides cash assistance to qualified low-income households for home energy costs, weatherization costs, which includes installation, caulking, weather stripping, to reduce energy consumption, and for energy crisis intervention. Finally, the Social Services Block Grant funds various services such as daycare services for children, adults and persons with mental retardation, home delivered meals, homemaker services, transportation, protective services for adults and children. This grant also assists families to achieve and or maintain economic self-support and self-sufficiency. At this time, Mary Price, the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities Chief Financial Officer, will provide a list and a brief summary of her agency grants.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Demetrius. The Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities will accept public comment today for 2 federal block grants. The 2 grants are the Community Mental Health Services Block Grant and the Substance Abuse Prevention and Treatment Block Grant. Here's a brief overview of these two grants. The Community Mental Health Services Block Grant implements the provisions of the Mental Health State Plan by providing services to individuals with a serious mental illness and to children with a serious emotional disturbance. The Substance Abuse Prevention and Treatment Block Grant provides funds for community-based alcohol and drug treatment, prevention, and early intervention programs. Thank you. Now I will turn it back over to Demetrius to continue the proceedings.
Thank you, Ms. Price. More details about each of these grants, including the types of programs that can be funded and their proposed funding levels, are included in the color-coded pamphlets that are available on the table outside. There's a separate pamphlet for each grant. Before receiving your comments, let me go over a few ground rules. We will take speakers in the order in which they sign up. If you have not signed up, you may do so at the table outside. Please give us your name and the name of the organization in which you represent. If there is more than one representative for your organization, please choose one to speak. By doing this, we will ensure that each organization and citizen gets a fair chance to comment, You will be given 5 minutes to present your comments. There's a timekeeper who will let you know when you have 1 minute left. I will initially call 2 speakers to the podium at a time. As the first person is speaking, the next speaker will be making his or her way to the podium. Then as I call your name, please make your way to the podium. If you have written comments for the record or a copy of your speech, you may place these on a table outside. Now let's begin the meeting. Our first speaker we have is Joanne Mathis, and she represents Georgia Council on Aging.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Joanne Mathis, and I am the legislative chair for the Georgia Council on Aging. As part of its advisory responsibility to state government, the council would like to address the allocation of social service block grant money funding for seniors. As you might be able to tell, my voice is going, so I'm going to give you an abbreviated version of what I passed out earlier. This approximately $6 million in federal funding will assist the elders of Georgia in staying in their communities, increasing the protection against abuse, neglect, and exploitation, and also the money assists in protecting seniors who live in institutional settings from such as long-term care facilities. As you probably know, Georgia's adult population is the fastest growing segment in the state, increasing by 45% in the last decade compared to 18% for the state as a whole, and 15% for children under age 19. By using social service block grant funds to provide vital services to our seniors, Georgia can continue to serve some of the most vulnerable among our growing elderly population. Thank you, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions? I don't see any. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for the information you're leaving with us as well.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak? If so, please approach the podium and give us your name and the name of the organization in which you represent. All right. I'd like to thank each of you for attending today's hearing. Now, would any member of the panel like to speak?
Is there anyone, any of our members have anything to add? Okay,
Okay.
I think that is it.
Okay. Well, I'd like to thank Representative Katie Dempson, Representative Buddy Harden, Ramona Amin from the House and Budget Research Office, as well as Jared Evans from the Senate and Budget Evaluation Office. Now I turn it back over to Representative Dempsey.
Well, thank you. Without any further comment, then we are adjourned until the next hearings take place in this room. Thank you so much for your attendance.